Hey everyone, welcome back to Epicenter Garage. Today's going to be a little bit of a different day. So you guys may remember I have a 1986 Ferrari Testarossa, one of the high mirror cars with the knockoff wheels. That car needs some things taken care of. Now we could bring it in here, put it on the lift, but the list is a little bit long and I'll go over that with you here in a little bit, but we are going to take it up to the absolute best mechanic for these cars, and that is Vince Hill up at Black Horse Motorwerks. And he usually has some really cool cars there, so it should be a very interesting trip. So we've got to go out and get the Testarossa, finish getting that thing loaded, and get on this road trip. So let's go. We're running a little bit behind, so we need to get this thing buttoned up and get on the road. We made it. It took a little longer, but it was probably about a little over 3 hours, which usually I get up here maybe a little less than that, but we took a little bit different route, but we're good. So now we're gonna pull the ramps out and get the TR unloaded. And we will. Vince will be out here in just a bit. We're gonna kind of get everything ready to get unloaded here, and then we are going to take you through the shop, which I think you guys will really, really enjoy. Every time I come up here, it's been a little while since I've been up here, but he always has some cool stuff, and I'm pretty sure he's got an F40 in there that looks not like any other F40 you guys have seen. Oh, and I will, this is my son, Hayes. Hello. He is, how old are you?
12.
12 years, I know how old he is, I'm just kidding, but 12 years old, and seriously, I'm not gonna, you can brag on your own kids, but he knows more about cars than I, especially JDM cars. Anything foreign, Japanese, he knows everything about them. So much, I have to depend on him when we're looking at Supras, we're looking at anything that comes from Japan. He's my guy. So brought him along. He loves cars. He could not miss this trip up to Vince's. He was begging, he's like, Dad, please take me. He starts school here pretty soon, so he's with us. All right, the Testarossa is now in, and it could not be in better hands. This is my good friend, Vince.
Hi.
I've known you for...
Since 2007 or 8, probably. Crescent, a long time.
A long time. I'd heard about Vince, oh man, and the work that he does. You got anything that's red, has a yellow badge on it, even Lamborghinis, Porsches, whatever, if it's Italian, or literally doesn't, well, even in cars in the United States, because you started out as like a top-tier Viper, but also GM mechanic.
GM, so yeah, any of the old, like, we'll still do some ZR1 stuff, GT40s, 4GTs, sort of pick and choose the American brands. I have nothing, against any of them, but we're just too busy with the red cars. So then our main thing is Ferrari, Lamborghini, and McLaren.
Yes.
That's probably the Bentley.
I've got a friend that actually sent a 101, and we're going to show it to you guys, a 101, cool. The only ZR1 convertible that was built for an exec, I think it was the director Don Rickle.
It's actually called the DR1.
Well, he knows all about it. And you guys can Google it. It's called the DR1, ZR1, or just the DR1?
I think it's just called the DR1, yeah.
Okay, and so Vince knows all about it.
Yeah, I actually saw that car at the Corvette Museum on a rotisserie when I worked for GM like forever ago, and then we went to Bob's. You actually introduced me to Bob.
That's
I walked in and I was like, what is that doing here? So I guess in 08 or whatever, they sold off some prototypes.
They did. So, he's got 2 super special ZR1s. The DR1, I'm not sure what the other one was, but Vince knows all about it. But we're going to show that to you here in a bit. But we got to go through your shop. In here, he's got multiple bays in here. And so tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got started.
So I worked for General Motors, as Brian said. I worked for Chrysler. And actually the dealership I worked at was a Chrysler, GM, and in the same dealership, which was really weird back then. So on one side of the shop we would have Vipers, on the other side we'd have a Corvette. So they just obviously don't do that anymore. But I worked for GM, and then in the late 2007 or so, the economy just kind of crashed. And I'd been working at the dealerships my whole adult life at that point. And I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. So I went and opened my own shop and focusing on Ferraris. And so then I met you at Crescent.
That's right, yeah. A rally, car rally.
Yeah.
And I think we're the only ones that stayed up till like 2 or 3 in the morning,
or 4
sitting
or
in
5.
lawn chairs or probably in the grass, just talking about cars. Because we immediately kind of had like a bond. We had so many things in common. Types of cars we loved.
What we would do to cars, if we bought that car, you know, so on and so forth. So yeah, we've had a good time. It's been a long time.
It has been. It has been. So, but yeah, the TR, the Testarossa is here now, and so you're going to do, and I'll be able to tell everybody what you're going to do on this a little bit later. But I'm too excited because we just got here, and I really want to go through and kind of explain maybe some of the stuff. And
well, so we do general maintenance on any Ferrari, pretty much any Lamborghini. Over here, we've got a really special, actually green 308 carbureted car. Really, really nice gentleman owns this one. And so it's just in for some very basic maintenance. If you know anything about 308s, they kind of go one way or the other. They're either really nice, really, really nice, and this would probably be in that really, really nice to me.
Oh, yeah.
Or they're kind of, they need love. They got too cheap for too long.
Yep.
So simple as that.
Yeah,
and
especially the early ones.
Especially the early ones. It's always funny to me, no one wanted a high mirror Testarossa.
Yeah, that's right.
No one wanted a fiberglass 308. No one wanted a Dino. No one.
No, you're right.
Now that's what everybody wants.
Yeah, this thing is incredible. Everything's, all the plating's
all
done.
plating. Yeah, the gentleman has done a fantastic 4-year restoration.
And the gentleman owns this is Italian.
Yeah. So the car is, what makes it neat is the color, the green, because we're so used to seeing red, right? I love red cars, but after a little while, you can see enough red cars. So it's interesting to see a blue one today too, which is different.
All right, so here we are in the next, I don't want to say next bay, but whole nother room of Vince's shop. Yeah. And here we have Mondial.
Mondial. We actually just had a Mondial T and a Mondial. It went home. So we had them both. You would like that one a lot. This is the same situation. Cars got not love, right?
Oh, these were cheap for a long time.
You couldn't buy a new Honda Accord, which you could buy one of these for.
But yeah, you're right. These were sub 20,000 that needed a lot, and most of them
need a lot.
No, it needed a lot. A lot.
The reason it needed a lot is because Ferrari and Lamborghini and all these other car companies, I explain this to people all the time when you're looking at buying one. Ferrari parts start off here and they go here. GM parts start off here and they go here. So if you buy an older Ferrari, expecting it to, be a $60,000 car and the parts to be equal to that, like it would be a Corvette, it's not. It's the opposite. The parts are still a $120,000 car, right?
Yep.
So
no matter where you start at.
Exactly, and that's what people get themselves in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
You know. So, and you can get I mean, look at a Countach, right?
Exactly.
That's
not only are they hard to find, but they get obviously. It all comes down to demand and supply and demand is what it comes down to.
Exactly.
So, but these cars, the cool thing about these cars now, why you're starting to see the values, I think increase just because they're cool and you can't buy stuff like this anymore, is also it's becoming financially viable. Although the parts are getting more expensive, these cars are catching up to that. So you know, what's the first thing you think about? And at least I think about is like, am I going to get upside down in this car? If I buy this car for $30,000, $40,000 and I need to put 20 into it, what's going to happen? If I need to sell it, from a liquid asset standpoint, what is it going to do? And these are becoming, I mean, they're not quite there yet, because you can get upside down on it, but they're getting there. And if you find a good one, like they always say, buy the best you can find.
Spend more money, buy the best car you can get. It'll save you money.
Yes.
And do a pre-buy. Do a pre-buy.
No, that's what I love to see.
Doing cylinder heads and valves and doing all the maintenance, catching it all up.
Because he has the best people in the business. So.
Yeah, I really do. I got Chazz and Kirsten back here, which you'll get to meet them here in a little bit.
Yes. So. I don't mean to butt in here because I know time is money, but I got to ask them, like, what are you guys doing? So Chazz and Kirsten. So tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing. Kirsten, you go right ahead.
No, and all Chazz.
So in the process of pulling this head, we're going to start by pulling the valve cover to lock the cams or remove the cams in this case, and get access to the inside of the head where the nuts are for the head. Beyond that, we're going to get really hopeful and pull the head.
Hopefully it's not stuck. We do have a tool for that.
Yep. In which case, I don't know if we can use the tool in the car.
Yeah,
to pull the whole thing if we do that.
We may end up having to pull this entire power plant out of the car to do this. We're trying to save, you know, again, it's a Mondial, so we're trying to save him some money to fix the problem he had and not buy the car again, right? So obviously do it right, that's the most important thing, but if we can do it in the chassis, it'll save him time. Time is money.
You also work on really modern stuff.
Yeah, we work on everything up through the F8.
Yeah.
So we do maintenance on F8. And the reason is, you know, we're kind of in the middle of the U.S. here. We don't have a Ferrari dealership close, right? So that's actually how I came to be.
Yeah. You have all the software, all the computers to do all of that stuff.
All the way through the most modern Ferrari, the most modern Lamborghini, the most modern McLaren.
Wow.
And most people don't know, but you know, it's hard to, as a smaller shop, right, to have all that equipment. But that if you don't have that equipment, how can you say you're able to work on it?
True.
You can pretend, but you can't, you know, you can't pick and choose what you want to do. So we don't do that. We fix everything that we can. Now, obviously, there's a place for a dealership, and there's wonderful dealers. And the thing is, we don't replace the dealership. We are a sub to the dealership, right? There's definitely times when you should go to the dealer.
Yeah, even on newer cars, man, I mean, the older stuff, the dealers sometimes don't want to touch.
Oh, they don't know anything about it, right?
And exactly, I don't want to say new men and women coming in, I mean, they might not have learned how to tune, you know, Weber carbs or something like this. This guy, though,
that's what we specialize in is, you know, the older stuff, because that's what we do. You know, if we see 3 308s a week, right? They probably see one every other month.
Yes.
So it's unfair in that way, you know.
And the parts. I mean,
yeah.
it's crazy. It's stuff that, I mean, I've been in some dealerships and they don't have, maybe on new stuff, but a lot of times they're going to order it. They're low overhead. Well, this, oh my gosh, he's got awesome inventory.
Yeah, we keep the parts to save time and the availability, because the parts, again, as they get older, they become impossible to get.
Yes.
So if I happen to have, you know, that crank sensor for an F40, that just happened.
Yes.
That saved months
Yes.
of trying to chase down this part that doesn't exist.
Yes, and you're smart enough to know. It's like if you have the part in your place and you can do it right then and there, you got a happy customer.
Happy customer.
I'm sounding like a salesperson here, but I'm so proud of this guy because I'm telling you guys, he's worked on so many of my cars. And it's one of those things where it's like, once you find, I mean, you guys, everybody out there knows, it's like, once you find somebody that you trust, it's worth every penny.
We just try to be fair.
And somebody that loves cars. So there's a lot of people out there that work on cars and that's their job, but around here, that's not the case. It's like, they love this stuff. So
you have to have the sickness, I say, right?
That's right. You do.
Yeah, you
the
gotta be
sickness,
sick.
without a doubt.
Hey everyone, thanks again for watching. Make sure to check back for part 2 where we check out more of Black Horse Motorwerks.